This is our program, so I will just go ahead and do a quick introduction about the Mentoring Club, and then we will go do a deep dive right away. I'll turn over the floor to Brian Golod so that he can teach us how to position ourselves on LinkedIn. And then before we wrap up, I will go ahead and give you some announcements, share more information about the activities that we're doing in the Mentoring Club. Before that, I would like to share with you, since we're talking about LinkedIn and social media, please, if you haven't done so yet, follow us on all of these channels: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then the YouTube channel has a lot of videos already of the events that we have produced in the last 2.5 years, maybe, courtesy of Breen. All of those videos have been edited by Breen. So thank you, Breen. And then, of course, Clubhouse. We also have rooms on Clubhouse. Right up front, I would like to thank everybody who has been supporting the Mentoring Club. My gratitude to all of these people. I couldn't do this by myself, and it takes a village to really do all the programs and the support that we have for our mentors and mentees. So thank you to all these wonderful people. So now let's talk about what is the Mentoring Club. At the heart of the vision and the mission of the Mentoring Club is the recognition that there are people in the workforce who want to become leaders, and they need a community of mentors to help them become better leaders faster. And the way that we're looking at it is we need to understand what the mentees' goals are, whether it's in their careers or in their lives, and then we match them with mentors who can help them develop themselves in order to achieve their career and life goals. And our ambition is that we want this to be a global community. So what have we achieved so far in that direction? First, well, I'll show you some relationships that are happening now. We have Michaela with a mentor in California, home, a mentor in Illinois, a mentor in the Czech Republic, and a mentor in Mexico. We have another one, Mwita, who is based in Kenya, with a mentor in Uganda, a mentor in California, and a mentor in California. So that's me. And another one from India, Siddharth, who's actually doing his master's at Dartmouth, has Chloe in New York as mentor, and also Shazvat. And I saw that Shazvat actually signed up, so hopefully he's here. And he also has Dipali in California as a mentor. Joy from China has Mark in Australia, and Hong here in California, and myself. And then the last example I have is Madge from the Philippines, and her mentor is in Canada, Mina, and also in California. So that is what we have done so far towards that vision and that mission. Here is a view of, I call this the density map, the mentors and the mentees right now globally. So we hope to continue to build up this community through the help of everyone who are volunteers and supporters and mentors and mentees. So just spreading the word out there. So how are we able to build this community? We are trying to attract people with similar values. The first group of values that you see here are anchored on trust. We believe that integrity, honesty, and commitment are what make us trustworthy as individuals and professionals. The second group is anchored on leadership. We believe that vision and execution are necessary for us to become successful leaders. And then the third grouping is anchored on community. So these are the values that we believe will eventually make us happy and content or feel fulfilled. The people that are around us enable us to do that. The long-term vision, ultimately, we would like to see that the mentees become successful and eventually that they would also become mentors to others. So that is the Mentoring Club. If this is the first time that you're hearing about us, welcome. Welcome to our community, and I hope you will engage with us. And now I will turn you over to Brian. Normally, I would actually just say how I met the speaker. So for Brian, I met him on Clubhouse. We scheduled a 1 hour informational session, which turned out to become a 2.5 hours because we have so many passions that are similar. I will turn over the floor to Brian and let him talk about himself.
Thank you so much, Liesel. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody who has helped put this together and for everybody who's attending as well. I'm super excited to talk about LinkedIn, which is one of the things that I'm most passionate about because it has really changed my life in so many ways. And I'm hoping that through this chat today, I can inspire you in some way to take action and to leverage it and to see your life change too. How to position yourself on LinkedIn. This is the agenda. A little bit about me. Unless you know what happened to me, maybe it will be harder to relate. And hopefully, when I tell you my story, you're like, huh, I can see myself doing this. How LinkedIn has changed my life, personally, professionally, and financially. LinkedIn content creation. What tools are there for you to be able to start to position yourself and to get a lot more exposure? LinkedIn profile assessments. There are some profiles that Liesel shared with me that I have open here, and I'd like to point out a few different things, areas that can be improved to be able to position themselves much better. Now that you know better, a few questions for you as well to start to reflect on everything that you heard, and a Q&A. Unless you know what happened to me, maybe it's not going to relate with you. So 3 years ago, I realized I was wasting a lot of time. I spent time, or I wasted time on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Netflix, playing video games. There was no growth at all, personally, professionally, nor financially. I wanted to grow. I just was wasting a lot of time. Somehow I came across LinkedIn and it changed my life forever. Have you ever felt terrified to interact with anyone? I know I was. I couldn't bring myself to put a like on a post because I was concerned about what my colleagues or my manager would think, my family, my friends. What would they think about me if I did that, right? Would they laugh about me? Would they think that I'm looking for a job? Somehow I managed to get courage. And I put that first like. It took me a week to get courage. I'm sharing this with you because about 90% of the users on LinkedIn, they are really passive. They're lurking. They're just looking at content, but they're not engaging with the content. So this is a huge opportunity for you, now that you know that 90% of the users don't engage, for you to be in the 10%. So looking back, I can see that that first like was like a spark in an engine. You might have all the fuel in your tank, but if you don't put that first spark in your engine, you're not going to move the vehicle. So for me, that was the first like that I put there. But I didn't stop. I wanted to share my own original content. I was commenting on other people's posts, but that was not going to help me position myself on my profile. I started to create content, and sharing valuable content inspired people, professionals, who were stuck in their careers to reach out. And the first one was Jean-Claude, who was unemployed for 2 years. I never imagined that a person could be unemployed for 2 years. The longest I had ever been unemployed was 2 weeks after investing in a company that didn't go anywhere and quitting my job to join that company. I was unemployed for 2 weeks. But this guy, this professional, was unemployed for 2 years. Jean-Claude complained, you apply, get a call, but then get ghosted. So we chatted for a while via private message, and I said, if you ever need anything, just don't hesitate to reach out. 3 days later, he reached out and said he had an interview the next day. But again, remember, he had been unemployed for 2 years. So I said, can I help you in any way? And he asked me, do you know anything about logistics? I said, I don't know anything about logistics. However, I know how to interview really well. And this is what he replied to me. You can always learn something from someone. And that stayed with me because he was willing to learn from someone who didn't know anything about his industry. We did a video conference for 35 minutes. I asked him a bunch of questions. Please take note of this. I had never mentored anyone in my life before, at least not professionally. I didn't know whether I could do it or not, but I had it in my heart to want to help him. I told him what I would do if I were in his shoes the next day, how to answer, how to behave, and I wished him luck. And at midnight, I sent him this message as well, because I was really committed to seeing him get back on his feet. I wanted to help him. I just want to wish you the best on your interview. 12 a.m., so midnight Toronto time, 6 a.m. South Africa. He lives in South Africa. Before the interview, most candidates feel like this. Jean-Claude was not the exception. Like you have a knot in your stomach, right? You're being chased by a bull. He was already preparing for that interview at 6 in the morning. He was sweating, he told me. When he came out of the interview, he said, my interview went well, did what you said, and my blood stopped boiling. I was like, oh, yeah, that's great. Let's hope that this turns out into something. I don't know how it will, but hopefully, right? So for the next 12 days, I would send him a message every second day. No news, good news? And he would reply, no news, good news. Meaning that as long as he didn't get rejected, there was still hope. On October 23rd, 2018, I sent him a message in the morning, and he replied a few hours later, and he said that he got the job. But there was something extra special on October 23rd, 2018. On October 23rd, 2018, that was the 5th anniversary of the passing of my dad. May he rest in peace. And I was on my way to the office. I was working at the government of Canada. And I was on my way to the office, and I felt the connection with my dad like I always do on the anniversary of his passing. But I felt that that day, for the very first time, my life was going to take a turn, a massive turn. And I didn't know why or how. But when I sent him the message in the morning and he replied, I got the job, he said, I am the right hand of the CEO of this multinational that you prepared me for. I attributed that as if my life was changing. And I said, oh my God, I knew that my life was going to change today. His life was changing. And somehow I attributed that to me. For me, it was a sign from my dad, something that was related to Jean-Claude. Let me continue with the story for a moment. So I shared Jean-Claude's success story, and many professionals on LinkedIn started to reach out to me. And I started mentoring them for 45 minutes, 1 hour, an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half. The reason why is because I started to gather a lot more experience from all the things that I had lived my life here in Canada. Some of these job seekers didn't even have good resumes. And because I had experience, because I had invested in myself, I did HTML resumes and Word documents and Google Docs resumes and Adobe resumes. And I paid resume writers and took tutorials and paid for courses. So I knew how to do this as well. So I started mentoring a lot of professionals. But then one day my wife asked me to stop. Don't hate on her. Basically, I refused to stop at that moment. I didn't want to. I realized that I couldn't stop doing this. I was changing other people's lives. And I was like, this is a non-negotiable. And she said, you're giving away all our time as a family. We had at the time one daughter. Now we have a daughter and a son. They're young. She said, you're giving away all our time. You're missing out on their precious moments. But I told her that this is my purpose. I found the reason I was born. I feel like this is the exact reason. This is what I came to this life for. My dad would be proud of me for doing this, for living up to our family values, for being able to change other people's lives, for being able to contribute to this world, for living it in a better shape than I found it. And she said, if you want to continue doing this, you have to value yourself, your knowledge, skills, experience, expertise, time, commitment, and everything that you do for others. I'm still married, in case you're wondering. And since then, I have mentored hundreds of professionals. So she has allowed me to continue to do this. And LinkedIn has had a massive impact in my life. So I'd like to switch back now. How LinkedIn has changed my life personally. First of all, 250,000 followers, if you have them on LinkedIn, is unlike any other social media platform. This is what I've been able to reach. Just a regular guy. Couldn't believe that I could grow to this. But it gives me confidence to be able to speak even in front of you, to be able to come on a LinkedIn Live, to be able to be invited to podcasts, the way that I build new relationships, the way that people take me seriously. These relationships which turn into friendships, and the way that I've been able to leverage these friendships to just continue to grow personally. Forget about the business, forget about side income, forget about anything. Just continuing to grow massively. And I am blessed today to be able to jump out of bed to do something that I absolutely love, which at some point throughout my career, I didn't feel like anymore. I don't know if it's ever happened to you that you're super frustrated with your career, you're stuck or lost or bullied or micromanaged or whatever it is that you're going through in your career. There are certain moments where we are just not connected, aligned with whatever it is that we're doing. And personally, I cannot wait to jump out of bed every single day. How LinkedIn has changed my life professionally. My communication skills, I still have an accent, will always continue to have an accent, but the way that I communicate writing, the way that I communicate on a LinkedIn Live, on a podcast, the way that I put together presentations, maybe, hopefully that if you're enjoying it, the way that I present an opinion, a perspective, right, an experience, invitations, right, invitations to LinkedIn Lives from other professionals who are well-positioned, podcasts, Instagram Lives, Clubhouse, where I met Liesel, right? articles. I mean, on Clubhouse, when Liesel was on Clubhouse hosting that room, just to be able to jump up, right? Come up and speak to someone and start to build a new relationship that turns into a friendship. Write articles for others in human resources. I was just invited to be a host writer for an organization that has 2,000 members. LinkedIn has helped me work for multinationals and the government of Canada. Enabled me to be found. If they are not finding you on LinkedIn, you're missing out big time. Career development for me, to be able to start a business out of this, which was a hobby, which was about me giving back to the world, me paying it forward. It enabled me to quit my career, my job in technology. I started when I was 13 years old. And I was in technology from 13 up until I was 36 years old. So 23 years. And then I decided when the pandemic began, there was a lot of uncertainty. We didn't know, I mean, I personally didn't know whether we were going to survive as a species. Maybe I was exaggerating, I don't know. But everybody in Italy was dying, everybody in Spain was dying. And on this side of the world in North America, we didn't know what was happening. And at the same time, I was working in a very toxic environment. So those were the two catalysts for me to say, I'm not going to die this way. If I'm going to die from this silly pandemic, I want to die with a smile on my face. And I just quit, shut my laptop, went to my wife, asked her for her support, her blessing. And here I am 2 years later, doing what I absolutely love. I've been able to help professionals immigrate to Canada. That's another branch of my business. Now I have two branches of my business, helping professionals immigrate safely to Canada, just like my family immigrated 18 years ago. These two areas, by the way, the reason why I bring them up is because I have no formal training or education in career development, in mentorship, in human resources, in recruitment, in immigration, none of them. And yet I have a successful business that has been able to deliver services, successful services to other professionals worldwide, not just in Canada or the US, but across the entire world. So sometimes we don't even know what we can do, how many skills we have that others can benefit from. And financially, LinkedIn has enabled me to triple my salary. I was making 75K. And when I quit corporate, I was making over 220K. Monetization, $500,000, thanks to LinkedIn. And the reason why I tell you, again, this is not about bragging, it's about hoping to inspire you to be like, how did you do that? To start to ask questions, because there will be a segment for Q&A. And to start to ask yourself questions. Wait a second, how is this guy doing this on LinkedIn? Why am I not doing it on LinkedIn? Now, maybe you're not interested, but the fact that you're joining on LinkedIn, this session maybe tells you that you are interested. It's just a matter of pointing you in the right direction. So monetization, $500,000 made out of LinkedIn, creating a business that is valued at $2 million right now. That has to do with career development and immigration when I never worked in either of those areas before. Kind of crazy, right? So let's get into LinkedIn content creation, because the way, if you really want to position yourself on LinkedIn, besides having a good profile that is properly set up, right? You need to start creating content. Unless you create original content, you're never going to be found. You're never going to be taken seriously because you don't exist. And unless you're appearing on other people's feeds, on other professionals' feeds, you're not there. So ask yourself, where are you creating content right now? Are you creating content anywhere? You're creating content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, wherever it is. LinkedIn? Are you creating original content? So first of all, my advice is start creating content. If you have never created content, if you have never put a like on LinkedIn, it's terrifying. At least it was for me. Imagine this guy with this face, with this hair, with this accent, with this whatever. Lack of this, right? Education, for example, right? What if they judge me? What if they realize that I don't have all the education in the world? Who am I to come and chime in on other people's conversations? So start. Maybe you don't want to start creating content yet because you don't feel comfortable. I challenge you, put a like, but don't just stop there, because I was checking out some profiles earlier today that we will be assessing here later. For those who are actually present, I'm not going to assess somebody's profile that is not actually here. But I see that there's a lot of likes, but no comments. Leaving a like on somebody else's post is the same as nothing. Nobody knows you. They have no idea that you're there. So let them know how that post helped you. Did it inspire you? Did it empower you? Did it educate you? Did it protect you in some way? tell them something, an experience, a perspective, respectfully always. If you disagree, especially, tell them respectfully, right? So LinkedIn content creation. I can tell you that when I first started writing articles, when I first started writing content, I started with articles. I wrote 18 articles and I was writing them in my dead time. I was on my way from home to the office here in Toronto. Took me an hour and a half to take the bus, take the subway, take the trolley, the streetcar. And I changed my mindset about that. I was like, oh, I'm being driven to work. I'm like a celebrity. I'm being driven to work. That's awesome. So I'm going to do something productive. Instead of listening to Spotify, playing Candy Crush, or whatever it is, I started to do something productive. What was it? I would take, I mean, we don't have internet connection here in the subway. So I would grab my notes on my iPad or my computer or my iPhone, and I would start to write an article offline, right? So I would write the article, and then whenever I finally had internet, I would double check it and finally would post it. So that 1 hour and a half, I would spend it writing the article each way. And I wrote 18 articles. But then I realized, wait a second, isn't it true that people don't have attention span? Why am I writing these massive articles? Like, who's going to read them anyway? Sure, at the time I had maybe 1,000 followers. I didn't have that many, or 400. I can't even remember. Very few, probably 400 actually. Very few followers. So I wasn't getting that much traction, but I'm very logical. I try to be. So I asked myself, why am I writing these lengthy articles? They take some time to load, so the experience is not as seamless as writing a post. Why don't I switch over to posts? So I switched over to posts. And the beauty about posts is that you cannot write as much as you want. They are limited to 1,300 characters. So believe it or not, I'm not exaggerating about this. I used to write very lengthy emails at work because I was a product owner in technology. And in my team, at times I had up to 16. I was managing leading 2 different software development teams, had a lot of members in my team. I was writing emails that addressed everybody. So they were like a mile long. Through writing on LinkedIn, I actually was able to improve my writing skills and be a lot more concise and to the point, right? So I switched over to posts. Now there's 2 kinds, text and image, right? My advice for anybody who wants to grab the attention of anybody scrolling through, try to grab as much real estate as possible, right? So if you just write text, they're not going to see much. You're not going to stand out from everybody else. So try to stand out by adding a photo that really shocks the person who's reading so that they stop. Break that pattern, interrupt pattern, or pattern interrupt, sorry, my Spanish kicked in. Pattern interrupt. So basically change something on the newsfeed. So they're like, what is this? They might like it, they might not, they might engage, they might not. But if you are like everything else, they're not going to stop. So if you can, add an image, okay? So you have posts, 1,300 characters, amazing to be able to start reaching out and sharing your knowledge, skills, experience, and expertise. And what I can tell you is this, there are 2 ways of creating content. There's those who create content to entertain, and you probably have seen a lot of influencers who are just stealing content from others. They download it from YouTube, they go on Google Images, and they just download an image. They're just trying to put stuff out there to entertain, even funny videos. And then there are others, and I include myself in this other bucket. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever resonates with you. I try to educate, empower, inspire, bring awareness, spark a conversation, change other people's mindset, views, right? So I'm on that other side, try to guide, try to protect others. So I'm on that side. I try to put myself on the other person's shoes. When I show up on somebody else's feed, I'm basically taking their time, and I am asking myself, how am I being perceived by the other person? As value or as a waste of time? I don't want to be perceived as a waste of time. So I don't start from a place of wanting to collect likes and comments and views and followers. I start from a place of, how will this impact the person on the other side? And probably that's one of the main reasons why I've been able to grow my account to 250,000 plus followers. Then there's polls, which have been introduced not too long ago. And the beauty about polls, you've probably have seen them because at some point earlier this year or last year, they've become really popular because LinkedIn was giving them a lot of attention. The beauty about polls is multifold, I guess. The first one is that they are anonymous. And because they are anonymous, a lot of users on LinkedIn who don't feel comfortable engaging because they are concerned about what anybody might think about them, right? Their colleagues, managers, friends, family, strangers, they can actually participate in polls. And that's why polls have so much engagement. So while a regular post or article has maybe dozens or hundreds of likes and comments, a poll can have easily thousands of the same user, right? So typically a poll of mine, you will see that it has thousands of, after some time, it has thousands of votes. Some users want to engage and leave their comments as well. The other part that I love about polls is that they actually allow you, if you use them correctly, they allow you to gather a lot of data and understand who you can serve. So when I create polls that have to do with career development or immigration, for example, which are the two avenues where I try to empower and guide and help professionals, I can easily tell who's struggling with what. And then I can easily have those conversations with those users, right? So that's the other part. It's just amazing to put them out there because you know that they are going to do well as compared to a post, for example, or an article. The third reason, which is incredibly important, is that most human beings out there, especially on social media, they're lazy. They just don't want to participate. They don't want to, oh my God, I have to write my opinion about this. They are not going to do it. But with a poll, it's very easy to just give your opinion. And who doesn't want to give their opinion? Most people out there, they want to give their opinion. So when you ask them for an opinion or for an experience, they give it to you, right? So it's a lot easier to get engagement, okay? Videos. Videos are beautiful because they set you apart. Having said that, for me, it took me 4 months to convince myself that I wasn't good enough, that my accent was good enough, my face, my hair, my camera quality, sound, background, everything, what I was wearing, absolutely everything. For 4 months, I didn't believe that I was good enough. And eventually, it was International Women's Day, and I was here in my basement with my daughter. She was young at the time. She was probably a year old. She was in my arms. It was in the afternoon. We were on the floor, sitting on the floor. I was putting her to sleep in my arms, and I was singing to her. And I had my phone, of course, next to me, like we always do. And I thought it's International Women's Day, and this little girl, when she grows up, I hope that the world is kind enough to her so that women have the same rights as men. And I thought, I can say that. I can try. Let's see if I can actually put it out there. Just a simple message, very short. Again, a lot of doubts were going through my mind. My accent, are they going to laugh about me? Are they going to mock me, troll me, right? There are so many fears that we have when we have never done this before. And I put it out there. And the LinkedIn has been incredibly welcoming, to me at least, incredibly welcoming. They've understood my essence, my values, and they were like, we want to see more. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't do it on this iPhone. It's not good enough. So I had to go and buy this GoPro and spend $800 because apparently you cannot do it with an iPhone. No, if you guys are thinking that you're not good enough or your equipment is not good enough, I can tell you that you can just grab your phone, has an amazing camera, has amazing sound, it's good enough. You can do it. You don't need to go and buy anything fancy. All you have to do is just put it, set it so that it's still, set to record, position yourself, do it 20 takes if that's what it takes. It doesn't matter. And then you just trim it and just say your nice message that you want to say. But you are good enough, and whatever you have is good enough, even if you don't have a phone. You're on Zoom right now, you can do it on Zoom, okay? So videos are amazing, and the reason why they're amazing is because anybody can just put a poll, anybody can write an article. I mean, not anybody, really, only the 10% or maybe the 1%, a post, but a video, good luck finding people who actually feel comfortable creating video content. So if you want to truly stand out from others as a professional or as a businessman or woman or as an entrepreneur, use video, stand out. That is going to do that pattern interrupt very, very quickly because people will want to see. Now, one thing that is true about videos, your sound has to be clear. If the sound is not good, if it is not aligned with your lips, right now, sometimes people use editing software and then the sound and the video, they're not aligned or synced, then people are bothered by that. And one more way to be able to get a lot of engagement is to actually put subtitles, captions on your video. There's an app called CapCut. It's actually created by TikTok. And if you upload your video, there's a function there that says auto captions. You don't have to do anything. Within like 5 seconds, it does all your captioning. And then you can go, and if it messes up anything because you have an accent or whatever reason might be, it didn't understand you, just go and edit whatever it is, right? So my advice, if you want to get more engagement, because there are a lot of users who are not listening to the audio, either because they are on the bus or they're in a public place or whatever the reason might be, add captions and you will get a lot more engagement, okay? And also, out of respect for people who don't have the ability to be able to listen, right? Deaf people. Comments. And this is so, what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but basically underrated. That's the word I'm looking for. Underrated. Comments. I mean, you're not going to post 10 times a day. I've done it once or twice, 10 times a day. That was too much. It's too intense. Twice a day, that's good. 3 times a day, but 10 times is way too much. But with comments, you can go around LinkedIn just commenting on other people's posts. My advice to all of you, based on experience and based on what I continue to see on LinkedIn, don't just say, great post, thanks for sharing, I voted. Add value. With every single interaction that you have on other people's content, add value. Share your experience, your knowledge, skills, expertise, ask a question, disagree if you have to, respectfully, as I mentioned, but add something of value. And if you find that someone actually said already what you were thinking of saying, even better. You already found someone who is aligned with you. It's so much easier. Go into the comments, and I will advise, when I say advise you, take it or not. This is based on my experience. When I look at other people's posts, I see that the majority of users out there, they're afraid to be the first one. They're like sheep. They just follow. Oh, this post has 100 likes. Okay, so I'm going to put my like. Oh, but I'm not going to be the first one, right? Or this one has a lot of comments, so I'm going to leave my comment, but I'm not going to leave the first comment. If you really want to stand out, if you really want to be noticed by the content creator, especially if you're looking for a job or you're looking to turn that content creator into a relationship and hopefully into a friendship or into a business opportunity, right? Be the first one. And don't leave them just one comment. Actually, leave them 2 or 3. Give them as much love as you can. Be generous. If you were the first one to come across that post and that post got just posted, sometimes, we're scrolling on our feed and we see that post just got posted. It says now or 1 minute ago or 5 minutes ago, and there's no comments, there's no likes. Be the first one to give them some love. A content creator, what we want as content creators is actually for people to engage with us. If they don't engage with us, some people do it just selfishly, like they just want the likes and the comments and the follows. I want the conversation. I want to understand whether people get it or not. I want to have a discussion. If you want to build a relationship with someone on LinkedIn, the easiest way is not to send them a connection request. The easiest way is to go and give them some love on the thing where they expect or where they want to get some love. Where's that thing? It's on their posts. It's the easiest thing. So go on someone's profile, follow them, turn on the bell, and make sure that you stay alert, because when they post, you should be the first one. And don't leave them again. Don't leave them one comment. Leave them 1, 2, 3. Now, don't expect to become best friends in one day. If you do this consistently and you show up every single day, I can guarantee you after 1 week or 2, the person will send you a connection request. They will be like, who are you? I want to know more about you. Like, you've been a great supporter of mine for the last week or 2. I love your thoughts. As long as you're not telling them, I just voted, great post, great thought, give them something of value and they will be interested in you. So if you are really interested in getting something out of that relationship, give them as much as you can. Help them grow and they will be interested in you. Hope it resonates with everyone. Hong, my dear Hong, looking forward to meeting with you and getting to know you better. So a couple of things that everybody, this is not to pick on you, Hong, it's for everyone to benefit from this, okay?
Yes.
Different areas here that you can tap on to be able to stand out from everybody else out there. You see your photo here? Great looking guy. But your banner is 5 times the size of your photo. And there's no banner. This is massive real estate that you're wasting. I don't know yet, because I don't know you that deep yet to know what you want to use your LinkedIn profile for. Hopefully some of my story resonated with you. Either you want to grow personally, professionally, financially, or all of the above, right? But if you can leverage your banner, that will help you, or yeah, it will help you communicate a better message much more easily and attract anybody who's checking out your profile. You can easily go on canva.com, right? It's a free app. You can, as with any app, there's a premium version as well, except Clubhouse. You can go on canva.com. You can go to create a design after you're logged in, signed in. And basically you can go here and you can type LinkedIn, and it gives you different banners, right? So you have one banner for company page, and you have a banner for your profile page, right? And then you have a whole bunch of other ones, right? But it gives you a whole bunch of different options. So you go here and you create this, and then you have a lot of different elements that you can just bring over, right? And you can search for whatever it is that you want. You can upload your own photo, you can put your own text, right? And this is incredibly easy for anybody who hasn't used Canva. It is easier than Paint. Okay, it's just amazing. Explore this. Basically, after you're done, you just download as PNG once you're done, and then that's it. And then you upload it to your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so that's one area that I would explore, creating something here to be able to stand out. Photo, if you're happy with your photo, that's awesome. I love the fact that you're smiling. It's a lot more inviting, a lot more welcoming. There are a lot of cultures that don't understand this, and maybe there's someone here, hopefully not, but if your profile photo is your passport photo, you've probably have seen this. Like, you can tell me that you haven't seen this. Users that have their passport photo as their profile photo, that's it's not welcoming. Have you seen anybody smiling on a profile, on a passport photo? No. So it shouldn't be on your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so in your case, Hong, awesome. Now here's a question that I had when I was checking out your profile earlier. Independent consultant. To me, I don't know. Like, I need to now start digging deeper into your profile to understand, in consultant about what, right? You can be consultant about 1,000 different things. So this is called a headline, and you want to maximize this and add as much content as you can in terms of what it is that you can do for others, right? The fact that you're a mentor as well, it's not mentioned here. What type of consulting you provide, right? In which industry? What's your specialty if you have one? You can add that here. I was almost forgetting about your name here. Also, if you're interested in people knowing how to pronounce your name, I hope that I pronounce it correctly, right? But if you want anybody who reaches out to you to know how to pronounce your name, you can actually record from a mobile device your pronunciation of your name, right? So you can also introduce yourself. And if you have a call to action for anybody who's fancy or creative, if you have a website that you want to send them to, or whatever, you want to bring them somewhere, right? To get to know the person, then you can invite them on that audio message as well. It doesn't have to be just limited to your name, okay? One more thing that I was forgetting here is, Hong, that you don't have a video. You don't have a video here to basically to introduce yourself. If you look at my profile, I think that this is mine. When you click on this, actually, let me refresh this so you can see it better. You will see that here, there's a video. And if I click on it, there's a message there, right? I think that it is a 30-second video. My advice is present yourself, introduce yourself, tell them what you stand for. If you watch my video, you will see that I'm not trying to sell anything. And here's one thing for everybody. No matter what resonated with you in terms of what I've been able to achieve dollar figure wise, don't try to sell to anybody. People don't want to be sold anything. People want to buy, but they don't want to be sold. So if you watch my video, you will see I'm not selling anything. I'm just trying to get people to reflect on the fact that they have this miracle called life, and that the odds of us being born are so slim. And the question is, are you making the most out of your life at this moment, right? So hoping that people wake up and be like, oh, that's an interesting question. And so many people, so many professionals message me via private message and say, I watch your video. And I have to ask them, which video? Because I've done LinkedIn Lives, I have that video, I have web classes, webinars, I have so many videos that I don't know. They're like, Your video about the miracle, about being alive. Oh, the one on my profile. Yeah, that one. So people are actually watching this. So put up a video if you can, Hong, if you feel comfortable, of course. Contact info. You're missing out a lot of details here as well, right? If you want others to, I know that some people feel that it's very sensitive, don't share too much. There are people who steal your identity. I totally get it, right? But if you feel comfortable, if you want to attract others, other professionals to reach out to you, give them more means, more ways for them to be able to do that, right? What else? Let's continue here. Okay, 500 plus connections. That's awesome. You have your education. That's great. You have your about. Your about. It's great that you're leveraging your about section, but it is not as rich as it could be. And there's no call to action, right? You're not inviting them to connect with you, to follow you, to reach out. You're not giving them your email address, your WhatsApp number, your something. Ask yourself, what type of relationships do you want to build? Who are you trying to attract? And what do you want them to do when they find you? So tell them, this is what I'd like you to do at the bottom. After you tell them your story, my advice is as well, tell them a story as to who you are and why you do what you do, right? Try to inspire them so that they get to know you. Who is the person behind the photo and the name, okay? Feature, that's great. You have this, but it's an image. It doesn't really do much for you. If you want to really promote a book, right? Because international best-selling author, probably a book, it's on Amazon, I assume, right? Make sure that you put a link and send them over to your Amazon store. So on the featured section, you can actually feature links. You can feature media, you can feature links. That's how I feature my free web class, where I try to mentor for free and teach professionals worldwide what our clients, our mentees do in terms of a strategy to be able to get the job that they want. I do it through my featured section. So one thing that you can do as well, just to know how well this is working for you, once you turn this into a link, and again, I highly advise you to do that, is you can actually track whether they're actually clicking on this particular link. This is something that I saw, for example, on Dr. Leslie, I believe it was. Some of these items that she has, they are not links, they are images, right? But the one that does have a link, she will have no idea that someone came from LinkedIn unless she's looking at her Google Analytics or some other type of analytics. But there's a way to be able to tell that that user clicked on this particular link on LinkedIn, okay? So my advice is find a way to be able to track whether anyone is clicking on this, to understand whether this is doing justice for you. Because if no one is interested in clicking on this, then maybe you should swap it up for something else, right? In terms of activity, Hong hasn't posted lately. Lately means 90 days. That's a long time. So if we go to show all activity, and you can do this on anybody's profiles. I can see anything that Hong has done. It looks like Hong, I don't know when Hong has engaged with this post, but the post was posted 2 months ago. So there's a chance that, Hong could have liked it today, but I'm going to assume that it's been a while ago, okay? Because this one is from 3 months ago, this one is from 2 months ago. In terms of articles, Hong hasn't posted anything, but he's a best-selling author, international. He could be creating content here to showcase his knowledge, skills, experience, expertise, education, right? And in terms of posts, it was only a year ago that he posted, right? So there's one post, there's another post, great, a few posts, but for some reason, either it wasn't working out or it wasn't feeling fulfilled about this. So he just stopped a year ago, right? So what I share with you, Hong, in terms of the story, hopefully it resonated and it inspires you to want to start posting again, creating content so that you can be found. And in terms of articles, I'm actually surprised that you use this feature, right? The PDFs. But in this case, you're using a PDF with just one page. Typically, you want to have multiple pages, right? So that people can just go through the pages and it doesn't feel too condensed or too, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but basically you don't want to have too much content all in one page. So if whenever you're using the PDFs, you can have multiple pages and the users can actually scroll through the pages, right? So it's interesting that you use this, but you've only used it once. So let's get back to your profile, Hong. So
Great.
far, so good, Hong?
Yes, absolutely. Very useful. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Much appreciated.
No, my pleasure. In terms of experience, one of the things that you're not doing, you were doing, maybe here, maybe, let's see, a little bit. You have a lot of experience. Oh, that's amazing. But one of the things that you're not doing very well is that you're not bringing all your, I would say your resume, to be completely honest. Your resume, if you have one, if you use one to get any gigs, any consulting gigs, if you provide those services, is bring every single one of your experiences from your resume over to your experience section. Why? Because you want any prospective employer or hiring manager or recruiter or anybody who might want to do business with you to see what you actually have done for every single one of these different organizations. And also, the more information you have, it's just like SEO, search engine optimization. The more content you have on your profile, the more likely you will show up when someone is searching for someone like you. And I can guarantee you, Hong, there's always someone searching for someone like you. Now, let's say that your thing now is blockchain. You're into blockchain, you live and breathe in blockchain, you just love it, you're killing it, you know it, you've made amazing money for yourself and for others. That's all you talk about, blockchain. What I can tell you is that the more occurrences of the word blockchain, the keyword blockchain on your profile, the more likely you will show up at the top. I've actually done this experiment live on LinkedIn Live, and I was able to demonstrate how a profile, when I was searching for these other words, superintendent, okay? I had a guest, one of my employees on my LinkedIn Live, and he came up with a keyword. So we searched for the keyword superintendent. Out of the profiles that came up, the very first one had 4 occurrences of the keyword superintendent, whereas the second one had 3 occurrences. How do I know this? Because we did Command F or Control F, and we actually searched for the word superintendent in the entire profile. So the first one, it's at 4 occurrences. The second one on the list, it's at 3 occurrences. The next one said 2, and the next one said 1. So what I'm trying to hopefully do justice with this story is that the more occurrences of that keyword that you want to be found for or by, the more likely that you will show up at the top of the search results. You don't just want to show up in the list. You want to show up at the very top of the list. So make sure that you have that keyword as many times as you can, without seeming like you're spamming the whole profile, okay? As long as it makes sense, add it as many times as you can, okay? So have everything here. In my opinion, from my experience, don't just have your last experience, have every single one of them, because you want to be found anyway. You just never know where life will take you. So far, so good?
Yes.
I love how much experience you have. Amazing experience. Now, Hong, there are more areas here, more features, but you're not leveraging them, okay? You have a lot of, sorry, my bad. Let me go back. Here you are. Education, which is great, awesome. And this, as we saw earlier, it's at the top, which is great. Licenses and certifications, that's awesome. Volunteering, that's great. Skills, that's awesome. And people are endorsing you. But honestly, to be honest, this section, it's like a spam. It's so many people will endorse you who don't even know you. They've never worked with you, right? Probably we've all experienced this. But one of the things that you can do if you really want to stand out and you want to demonstrate that you have those skills is LinkedIn has tests, quizzes that you can take, and then it says that you are actually validated by LinkedIn. So if your thing is blockchain, maybe there is a quiz about blockchain where they're actually testing your knowledge on that industry, on that domain. So if you really want to stand out, make sure that you have it. And at the same time, given the fact that you are in blockchain, now it might be that you're into strategy. Maybe that's what you consult about. Make sure that these 42 skills, right, they are sorted in the order that is appropriate for you at this moment in your career as well. If it is strategy, the first one, because you're like, yeah, that's what I do, awesome, great. But if it is something else, make sure that that one is at the top, okay? So make sure that the most important ones, the top 3 most important ones for you, those are listed here because they will be shown here, and then the rest will be shown underneath, okay? And in terms of recommendations, that's awesome. You have a lot of recommendations. You have 32, that's great. Let's see how many you have given. 14, okay, that's pretty great. There are a lot of professionals, a lot of other profiles that I've seen today that I was assessing that didn't have anything. Not a single recommendation, maybe one, right? That says a lot or very little about you if you don't have recommendations. I have over 100. I think it's 101. So try to gather as many recommendations as you can that are legit, that they are real. And sometimes a way to get a recommendation is to give someone else a recommendation, but you don't want to have a one-to-one relationship. Otherwise, people will be like, this person is actually gaming it, right? You gave 100, you got 100. I don't know, I can't remember right now how many I gave, but definitely it's not 100. I gave 25 and I got 101. Okay. Hong languages, awesome, great organizations. The rest is great. Okay. Some areas to tweak, but the thing that you have to ask yourself is, what do you want to get out of this? Okay, out of LinkedIn. But now that you know better, now that you listen to my story in terms of what it's done for me personally, professionally, financially, here there are some questions that I'd like to leave you with. And hopefully you take them seriously and you start to ask yourself these questions. What is stealing your time? For me, it was Instagram, Facebook. Nothing wrong with the platforms. It's just that they are so well coded that you go to watch one video and before you know it, you spend 2 hours there and you will never get that time back. So for me, it was Instagram, Facebook, Netflix, YouTube, and video games on my phone. So I didn't delete my profiles, but I didn't install those apps for a very long time until I took my life into the path that I wanted. Okay. So ask yourself that. And the other reason why I wanted to ask you this is because there are a lot of professionals out there. When I ask them, okay, do you have time to be able to invest in yourself, to be able to advance in your career? No, I don't. Do you watch Netflix? Yeah. How much time? 2 hours per day, per night at least. Well, 2 hours one night is nothing, right? Everybody needs time to relax. But when you multiply that times 365, that's 730 hours that you could have spent to invest in yourself, to be able to advance in your career, to build a side business, to build a side income. And the reason why I want to tell you, for all of you, every single one of you, if you're not generating side income or trying to build a business of your own, the one thing that I can assure you is that for those of us who are blessed to live many years, we're going to become old. And at some point, we're going to lose our jobs. Unless you know how to generate your own income, one day you're not going to be relevant anymore. And I've seen a lot of people suffer and experience this, and then they are lost. And many people actually commit suicide because of this. So just know that you have time to build this, but start working towards it. Hopefully it inspires. So are you leveraging LinkedIn to the fullest? Right now that you've seen Hong's profile, now that you've heard me talk about creating your own content, positioning yourself, commenting on other people's posts, standing out with videos, LinkedIn Live, whatever it is, are you leveraging it? How do you plan to leverage LinkedIn to position yourself? What do you plan to do? How do you plan to use it? Do you want to entertain? Do you want to educate, guide, protect, share your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, inspire, empower others? Are you happy with your career? If you're not happy with your career, then what are you going to do about this? Because now you know that through LinkedIn, I was able to triple my salary. Through LinkedIn, I was able to gain a lot of confidence speaking in front of you guys. 4 years ago, I would have been like shivering, shaking. Now I feel comfortable. You guys are making me feel comfortable, so I feel comfortable. But also because I have a lot of experience with this. What do you do with your career if you're unhappy, right? Are you happy with your job? Maybe you're happy with your career, but not so much with your job, just like it happened to me a couple of years ago where I was in a toxic environment, micromanaged, bullied, right? What do you plan to do? Just stay there or leverage LinkedIn to be able to get ahead, right? Do you look forward to Monday mornings? I jump to get out of bed, to serve others, to mentor, to help, to guide, protect, to do anything, to be of use to others. Are you jumping out of bed every single day? Not just Monday mornings. Monday mornings is because nobody wants to go back to work on Monday morning. For me, Monday morning, I can't wait for Monday morning. I want to. I love what I do. It doesn't matter the time of the day or night. Do you feel personally happy? Are you doing anything to try to overcome that? Or are you getting distracted with these chemical reaction that we have in our brains when we just have likes or we're watching these TikTok videos, right? Are you doing anything towards that? Do you feel professionally fulfilled? Are you really enjoying what you do? And if you're not, are you trying to do something different? I know that it's terrifying. All these that I'm asking, it's terrifying. To make change, to get out of your comfort zone, it's incredibly terrifying. Do you feel financially strong? I mean, at the time when I started or when I made this decision, when I realized that I was wasting a lot of time, it was at the time where I was unable to save any more money. And actually every single month, my account, my credit card I wasn't owing much money or barely anything, but it was getting into the red more and more. And every time you have an emergency, an extra birthday party, birthday invitation that you didn't plan to, and now of course you cannot come without a gift, right? Every single month, an extra expense. And of course, we want to live better. And my wife is the one pushing me to live better, more comfortably. So are you financially strong? If you're not, LinkedIn can help you big time. That's how I generated $500,000, right? And the last one is there anything holding you back from advancing in your career? Anything at all? Anything at all? Unable to land interviews, unable to get the job offers, unable to negotiate proper job offers, unable to build relationships, whatever it is. Ask yourself these questions. If you want to reach out to me, of course you can. There's going to be a Q&A. Hopefully, if we have time, if Liesel approves, this is my contact information. If I can help in any way, I've done this for Daniel before. More than happy to meet with any of you. Just more than happy to get to know you better.
Yes. So there is a question earlier with regards to the LinkedIn video. Comes from Morris Nelson. How do you encourage visitors to click on your picture to watch the video? It's the first time that they ever heard of the feature.
When they come to your profile, the very first thing, if there is a video, it will actually show up on its own. Okay, so you don't actually have to tell them anything. It will start playing on its own for a few seconds to try to entice the user to want to click on it.
What makes LinkedIn the best channel for you as opposed to, say, Facebook or something like that? From what you've been saying, I thought, well, maybe Facebook would allow you to reach a much larger audience and maybe monetize even more.
The way that I don't have anything against any platform. Okay, I'm not biased. All I can speak from is my experience. What helped me? I want to say the following: LinkedIn is nothing without us. It's just a platform. It doesn't do anything on its own. It will not go anywhere. It's all because of relationships, because of the content that we put there, because of how we reach out and we build these relationships. For me, LinkedIn is, I can give it 50%, attribute my success or my growth, only 50%. The other 50% is me. It could have been Facebook. It could have been Instagram. It could have been TikTok. It could have been YouTube. It could have been Clubhouse. It could have been anything. It could have been writing books, international best-selling books. It could have been anything in life, but it was LinkedIn. The content that I was consuming at the time on Facebook was very distracting. Okay, there are not that many things that I like or that I thought that I liked. I mean, I like racing, like cars racing. I like watches. I like sports. I like maybe cats pushing things off a table. Apparently, Facebook thinks that, and I guess I do. And all this content doesn't help me grow personally, professionally, or financially. So I realized that I was wasting a lot of time when after a few hours, sure, all those videos were entertaining, but I was not walking away with anything new that I learned, that I could act on. I just couldn't apply this to any aspect of my life, any of that content. Did I explore more? No, but that experience of being constantly distracted pushed me away from the platform. I was like, no, I don't want to be on this platform. This is not helping me grow. Now, LinkedIn has the reputation for being the most professional social media platform in the planet. I wanted to be there. I didn't know exactly what I was going to be able to achieve. I didn't understand the magnitude of what I was going to be able to do for others and for myself. You heard the story about Jean-Claude, right? The very first person that I helped, unemployed for 2 years. Listen to him for 35 minutes. Next thing you know, he's the right hand of the CEO of a multinational 12 days later. I realized, oh my God, if I could do that for him, can I do it for others? The very first question after hanging up with him and crying with him on the phone, I sat on my chair at the government of Canada, at the office, and I was like, is this a coincidence? Is this the expression when the planets are aligned? I just had to appear in his life? Or I actually have a skill to be able to help others? And I thought my dad would be very proud from the sky, looking down on me. If I actually leveraged this, I felt a transformation in me. What if I actually used this skill to try to help others? But I didn't know whether I had it or not. So I had to test myself, and I put myself out there. And that's how I continue to mentor every single other person. But when you're in the right environment, a positive environment, welcoming, supportive environment, professional environment, something good is bound to happen. And that's what it did for me. So if you're going to pick a platform, LinkedIn is just amazing. And sure, 3.5 years ago or 4 years ago when it first started, it would have been amazing for you if you haven't, right? If you haven't been leveraging it. But the next best time is today. Don't wait any longer. The longer you wait, the worse, the more of a disservice you're doing to yourself and to the world, because there's a purpose, there's a reason why you're here. You were born for a reason. The odds are 1 in 400 trillion. So you probably know your purpose, every single one of you. And if you don't, let's find it. You should find it, because why were you born? There are a lot of people who don't even know why they were born. And when I found my purpose at 36, I was banging my head against the wall. I was like, how can you be so stupid? It took you 36 years to figure it out. And then on the other side, I was like, good job. There's so many people who die without even finding their purpose. So make the most out of life.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I'm wondering, like, should that experience section on LinkedIn be exactly what you have in your resume, or you want it to be like slightly different?
No, exactly the same. You know why? I'll explain to you very, very quickly. You don't want any red flags. And by the way, I have a question for you, Clara, and for everybody. Do you have multiple versions of your resume? Because if you do, first of all, I'm going to tell you, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. You should not have multiple versions of your resume. If you want to learn more about this, you can learn the strategy. Go on nextbatch.com and learn why you shouldn't have multiple versions. The key aspect, what I want to share, is that if you have multiple versions of your resume and they are checking out your LinkedIn profile, which one is it going to match with? If you've applied to 10 different jobs, and you have 10 different versions, and they come and check out your LinkedIn profile, which they will. If it doesn't match, if you're not telling the right story, oh, but here, Claudia is saying that she wants to look for this, but her LinkedIn profile is positioning her in this other way. You're going to raise some red flags, and they don't have time to check with you what you actually mean. They will pass on you. The average recruiter and HR professional, they spend 6 seconds looking at your resume, your LinkedIn profile. So it's on you to have a very cohesive story. So just have one single version of your resume and have all that same information over to your LinkedIn profile as accurate and as updated as possible.
Thank you, Brian.
Pleasure.
If someone is making, I guess, a career jump from one industry to another, how do you position yourself to get the most, I guess, visibility and the most attraction towards your resume?
First of all, you need to understand where it is that you want to go. What is it that you're actually looking for? What's the gap? Because if you're switching careers, what gap do you have? I mean, one thing is to have a 20% gap, another thing is to have an 80% gap. You need to understand what that gap is to understand whether you will be someone interesting, appealing for an employer to want to bring you in for an interview. Okay. Second thing is, if you're unemployed, which last time I thought that you were unemployed, if you're switching careers, you should have your LinkedIn positioned in a way that you're actually speaking to the job postings that you are seeing on the internet, on LinkedIn jobs, right? So and the reason why I say that you should have one single version of your resume is not that because we'll just do whatever you want and then just apply to a whole bunch of different jobs. You need to really understand what the market is looking for. What do the employers want? First of all, you need to define what that job is going to be. Which is that one job that is going to bring you personal happiness, professional fulfillment, and financial strength? Which is that job that is going to make you jump out of bed and look forward to Monday mornings? When you find that job, the next step that you're going to do is actually look at the industry. Look for many, many different jobs like that one in different organizations and understand what every single one of them are looking for. And based on what you see across all these different organizations, you're going to write a single version of your resume. Just because you have other skills from the past, right? Just because I'm a full stack software developer and a business analyst and a scrum master and a product owner, it doesn't mean that I should be applying to all those kinds of different jobs, because every single one of them leverages a different set of skills. And my resume for each one of them has to be written differently, because that's what the job posting is looking for, something different. So you can be applying to a whole bunch of different jobs. with the same resume. And at the same time, you cannot have multiple LinkedIn profiles. You should only have one single LinkedIn profile. So define what it is that you want to do, understand what it is that the market is looking for, and find a way to write your past experience in a way that this new career can benefit from what you've done in the past. In every single one of these jobs, there will be keywords that you need to match. So when you understand exactly what it is that they're looking for, you can look at your past experience and be like, that thing that I say over there, if I spin it this other way, I can actually address that thing that they're looking over there. There's a lot of transferable skills that you can bring from one career to another, from one industry to another, from one field to another. So you need to start to map what it is that you've done in the past to what it is that they're looking for. No, and don't tell them any more and don't tell them any less. Every single one of those basic qualifications that they have in the job postings, you have to address them on your resume, or otherwise you're not going to make the cut. Why you're not going to make the cut? Because when you apply, if you don't have those keywords, remember what I was mentioning about the LinkedIn profile, if you don't have enough keywords, you're not going to show up at the top. And technology has been amazing, but at the same time, it has made things more challenging for us as professionals. Because when we apply for a job, there's dozens, if not hundreds, of professionals applying for the same job. So when they are searching for someone like you in their own database now, if you don't have those keywords, you're not going to show up at the top. And I can guarantee you that they're not going to review every single one of those applicants. They're going to review a set, 25, 50, however many they can deal with. But they're not going to review every single one of them to try to bring the absolute best. They will review the ones that they managed to put in that time slot. Okay, these are the ones that we're bringing in. And if your resume and your LinkedIn profile are not up to par, you're not going to be found. Even if you think that you are super qualified, let's say that you're not changing careers and you're like, I'm 100% qualified. Why am I not being brought for this interview? And they send me that, thank you, but apply again in 6 months. It's because your resume and your LinkedIn profiles are not set up correctly.
Gotcha. Thank you, Brian.
Pleasure.
So thank you very much, Brian, for that. You always over-deliver. I appreciate you sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. When I edit my LinkedIn profile, I will let you review it. Thank you. So some announcements. Next month, we are going to have a panel discussion, and I see Eveline is here with us. She will be one of the panelists that will be joined by 3 other mentors that I still need to confirm. But what we will talk about is the kind of leadership, what is it that we need in the world? Good friend Kimberly Wiffling has agreed to become the moderator for this event. As far as our clubhouse presence is concerned, we are currently on a break because we need to use some time to do our programming for the rest of the year. I'd like to report to you that within the 15 months that we were on Clubhouse, we were able to gain 9 mentors. I see Nathan is here. Nathan is our mentor from Uganda, and we gained 8 mentees and also 3 volunteers. I see that Steve is here. So he is from Puerto Rico. He wants to come to the Silicon Valley. He is volunteering as well as our project manager for the website redesign project. And then, of course, a known number of supporters. We would really never know who among those hundreds of people that we've met on Clubhouse that we will cross paths again and be able to support each other in different ventures in the future. So if you're not on Clubhouse, just go ahead and try it. Look for sessions, rooms that resonate with what you're trying to do with your personal life as well as career life. Hopefully you can change people's lives and your life will also be changed. Very important for us as a nonprofit, we have to do fundraising events. Please join us this year for our Give Back, Lead Forward virtual run, walk, bike. So this is our 3rd year. And this year, there's a new feature about creating a community team. So you can invite your family and friends to register with you. And since there is that new feature, we've also created another category for our photo contest, which is the group category. So you have a chance to win both as an individual or in a group, $100 and $300. So just remember that when you do this, you're doing it for your own health, you're doing it to support our operations, and you're doing it to connect mentors and mentees globally. And these are these are the winners from 2020 and 2021. So we have Daniel and his mom, we have Breen, and then we have Donna. And definitely we continue to welcome new mentees. If you know anybody who you think can benefit from becoming a mentee, please send them my way. I'd be happy to talk to them and help them figure things out if becoming a mentee is the right path for them. Likewise, if you know of people who are ready to give back through mentoring, please send them my way. And volunteers, these are some of the positions. So I'll share this slide with you, the slide deck with you after the session. If you know of anybody, please, again, refer them to me. And as a nonprofit ongoing on our website, if you know of anybody who believe in this cause of mentoring, helping other people become better leaders, please go ahead and visit our donate page as well. And finally, the last slide is really just asking you for the gift of your feedback. You will be receiving the survey link, and you can also click on here when I send you the deck. And please, we would like to improve our events and our services on an ongoing basis. Your feedback would be very, very much appreciated. And with that, this is my contact information, and I'll give the last few words to Brian to close the session.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate you immensely. I just wanted to drop one more thing that I think you will all benefit from, including you, Liesel, and Maria, and some others that I've seen make this mistake on LinkedIn. Sharing is amazing. Sharing is caring, they say, except on LinkedIn. Don't share anybody else's post ever again. You've probably have seen how when you share somebody's post, you get no engagement whatsoever. If you want to share somebody else's post, take a screen grab and write your own post about it. There's something about the algorithm on LinkedIn that doesn't really like when people share the post and people navigate to that person's post instead of yours. So you're not helping yourself. If you really want to position yourself on LinkedIn, if that's your intention, sharing somebody else's post is not helping you. That share feature should be killed by LinkedIn, should have been killed years ago. Don't touch it ever again. You will do yourself a huge favor, okay? And besides that, thank you immensely for your time, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you want to reach out, reach out. I've been responding to some who have been reaching out on LinkedIn. More than happy to reply to everybody. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thanks everyone for staying this late, and have a great rest of the week or towards the weekend. Enjoy the journey.